witnesses for being here today. Mr.
You have 5 minutes, Senator Craughwell. 5 minutes.
I need to start with you, Mr. O'Connell. I want to ask you straight out, do you have any beneficial interest in any entity regulated by the IAA?
No, I don't. I have an interest in the IAA, and I have an interest in us fulfilling our safety mandate to the best of our ability.
Okay. Can you tell me the date that you finished employment with your last employer, who was a commercial airline, and when you started with this one?
Be careful here now.
I'm being careful.
We're here to
I think it's a fair question.
But just be careful. I'm putting you under advisement.
Okay, that's fine, Chairman.
I ended employment with Ryanair in December of last year.
And started with?
I started with the IAA in January of this year.
That's fine. Thank you very much for that. Now, with respect to the maps and the we've been speaking about, I just want to read a short section here. The Irish Aviation Authority Aeronautical Service Memorandum number 22, issued 2 of the 18th of August 2018 states, General introduction. It's the responsibility of the IAA to ensure the integrity of aeronautical data is maintained throughout the data process from survey origin to the next intended user, that aeronautical data quality requirements related to the accuracy, integrity, resolution and data classification shall be as provided ICAO Annex 4, 11, 14 and 15. Note, the distribution of aeronautical data is the responsibility of the Aeronautical Information Service Unit. Is that correct?
That is correct, and we are in compliance with those ICAO requirements.
That's fine. With respect to 116, there has been some discussion with respect to the IAA's role. Would I be right in saying that the IAA at that time had no statutory authority, if you want, to oversee SAR, and that it still to this day does not have a statutory authority to oversee SAR until such time as the current air navigation and transport bill is passed? Would that be fair?
That wouldn't be correct, Senator. We have a statutory basis for the regulation of SAR. At the time of the accident, before and after the accident, we did and do exercise safety oversight of SAR, and we did that by a number of statutory instruments which hang from our primary legislation, and also by issuing an AOC to the operator and a national SAR approval. So we did exercise safety oversight, and we did have a statutory basis for that.
Yeah, the report suggests that there was some ambiguity within the IAA as to its role in overseeing SAR operations in the country. Is that fair?
The report does say that. It's very clear to me that we did, as a matter of fact, exercise safety oversight at the time of the accident. I think there are 1 or 2 legitimate reasons for confusion. One is that we did not regulate the Irish Coast Guard per se. So the Irish Coast Guard is separate from the operator that provides the search and rescue services. The Coast Guard has marine and aviation activities and sits in the Departments of Transport and the Marine. It's not an aviation operator. Therefore, we didn't have regulatory oversight of it at the time. We don't have regulatory oversight of it now. But as a consequence of the AAIU report, that has been clarified. The bill will give us regulatory oversight of the Coast Guard, and we're already in touch with them, developing a memorandum of understanding as to how we'll fulfil that regulatory oversight, and we will issue regulations for them, in particular for their tasking of SAR missions. So I think that was one reason for the confusion, and I think another reason for the confusion was the fact that I already referred to, which is, as I know you're aware, Senator, that the ICAO and the EASA don't provide regulation material on SAR, which is unusual in civil aviation.
Yeah, probably because SAR was traditionally done by defence forces or air forces in different countries. So, I mean, look, what I'm trying to establish here is that the ambiguity that's reported on the IAA's involvement in SAR, it was justified ambiguity because there isn't, to date, a statutory obligation. That statutory obligation will come in with the current bill that we're now moving through the Senate.
I wouldn't necessarily agree with you there. I would say there was a statutory base. So firstly, the IAA did exercise safety oversight, and there was a statutory basis for that oversight. And as I said, it's a number of statutory instruments hanging out of the main act, and orders then directions by the authority. So there was a statutory basis, and we did exercise oversight.
But the current bill will definitely underpin that.
The current bill helpfully clarifies that.
Okay. Now, with respect to night vision, there was some concern expressed as far back as 2015 about poor lighting in the cockpits of aircraft. Those aircraft were retrofitted for night vision technology, and maybe it's a bit unfair to ask you, and by all means tell me that you can't answer it because it was well before your time. Clearly, they were retrofitted. After the retrofitting, there is complaints about the level of lighting in the cockpits. Do you find it extraordinary that, first and foremost, the state paid for the retrofitting in 2013? And I'm being careful now. And to date, that night vision is still not universally applied across the entire operation. And I'm just wondering, after the retrofit, was it the responsibility of the IAA to come in and inspect the aircraft and make sure that they were operating correctly vis-a-vis cockpit lighting and things like that?
So you're right, Senator. It is before my time, but I'll endeavour to answer the question. So the fitting of the kit into the aircraft would have been approved by EASA. It's a design modification for the aircraft, and that would have been approved by EASA. The retrofitting would have been done by the manufacturer, and such an approval would include a safety risk analysis of any impact that such retrofitting would have on other aspects of the technology or operation of the aircraft. The NVIS is available to the aircraft for its, let's call them, normal commercial aviation flights. At the moment, we're finalising with the operator our review of their safety risk analysis in order for them to use NVIS on SAR flights, and that process is well advanced. I would say we would be expecting to give that approval within a matter of weeks, if not before.
Yeah, we'll have all of them up and running by then, will we?
That's my understanding, yes.
Okay, that's pretty good. Yeah. No, that's fine. I've been very careful here. I'm not trying to blame to anybody, but I'm trying to understand how it has taken more than 8 years to get a system that has been put in place working and operating.
And your concluding questions, Senator?
Look, I mean, at this stage, I'm happy enough that the IAA will now have oversight and will be proactive in their oversight. I'm a little concerned that the charts and maps that are provided by two aeronautical companies, that they can actually be scanned incorrectly. And it appears from the report that seems to have been a problem. But we have 4 navigation systems, from what I can recall, that failed on that day. And I'm sure you have plenty of work, and I would think you have plenty of work ahead of you, Mr. O'Connell, to put all these things right. But I would hope that he would be able to report back to this committee in the very near future to let us know that we have put things right and that we have minimised the possibility of accidents into the future.
Thank you.
Report does not seek to ascribe liability or
Absolutely.
blame. That's
we're
an
very
important feature.
And we all accept that. But the lessons that it provides, and the whole purpose of air accident investigation is to learn the lessons.
We're dealing with the facts as reported within the report, without attributing blame in any way.
Mr. Connolly, just very quickly, visual flight rules maps from 2017. Are you happy that those maps are accurate? Have you had a chance to review them, and are you happy that those maps are accurate today?
Well, I haven't, as we said, it's the case that we're in discussion with the sector all the time about additional features that might be added to maps. I haven't briefed myself on the condition of the maps in 2017. The maps are done in compliance with ICAO. I just wanted to be very clear that the maps, the VFR maps in use at the time of the accident included the obstacle. That's what I wanted to clarify.
But the issue, I suppose, the final issue for us, we'll consider as a committee. At the moment, in regulation, can the IAA have any oversight to verify if the systems within third-party systems within aircraft have a same degree of mapping as you have on the VFORCE plans?
I think we would best do that through the safety management system of the operator. So we oversee the safety management system of the operator, and we, for example,
has that always been the case?
Indeed.
And so therefore, would IAA have not looked at the safety management system of the helicopters, the operators of the helicopters, in terms of the R1?
No, we would have. We would have. And like a key part of a safety management system is that you have safety reports, and you have safety reports within the safety management system that come to the safety management system. So not every observation about the charts and navigation aids found its way into the safety system at the time. So that's something that where an improvement can be made.
There was only one analysis carried out on the SAR system, I think in 2014, if I'm not mistaken, and a report was delivered by the IAA at the time. But what I'm being told, and I'm not sure, you're the man who's in the position now, and I appreciate the questions I'm asking.
I want to bring in Deputy Carey, so you need to conclude.
Just on that there was a report created by the IAA, but it had no import because of the lack or the misunderstanding with respect to how much authority it had.
And that was in the R116 report?
Yeah.
So, I suppose I don't wish you to comment on particular matters that are in the report. You can give a very, would say, just be careful in terms of in any way attributing.
Sure, and here's what I would say is that this was defined by the AAIU as an organisational accident, which means there were multiple causes. The causes have been identified by the AAIU. There were approximately 70 findings. There are 42 recommendations. Those recommendations will improve safety performance for SAR in Ireland and indeed globally, because other people will look at this report.
Thanks.
And there are recommendations for the IAA. We accept those recommendations. We will implement them.
Thanks, Mr.
Chairman,
we'll come back. We'll have to come back to it.
I know, but this is a really serious issue, because if the IAA are providing state-of-the-art navigational maps, which I believe they are, and an operator, any operator, takes those maps and scans them into their system, and this will have to feed into our report. The verification process that the map has been accurately imported, somebody somewhere has to do that. And are you telling me, Mr. O'Connell, that a private entity can import those maps in any way they wish and nobody actually oversees that?
No, I'm not saying that. There's a huge amount of provision of information, charting information, navigational information that's done all the time for the aviation sector.
Mr. O'Connor, I think we'll have to come back to this. It would appear as if there's an absence of information, a lacuna around this whole area. It's something we'll come back to. It's separate from, obviously, our discussions with Ms. Hines' appointment today.